All right, well, welcome back everyone to... Oh my... Yeah, Mom. Hi. Yep, this is the video. Mom, I'm in the middle of the intro. It's about Bob Whitehead. Yeah, don't say it like that, Mom. It's, yeah, the guy that carves rotten wood. Seriously. Listen, they're... Yeah. No, I haven't asked him anything. I just started. Okay, I'll ask. Would you buy something like a carving that was made from rotten wood? That's my question. Yeah, they're gonna answer it in the comment section. No, I haven't told them about judging it from 1 to 10. Well, I know they can put their comments in there and tell me what they would judge it as. I know I'm not even to that point yet. Can you put... Mom, I gotta go. This is very important. I know. Thank you for your input. And you have... I know. Thank you, Mom. I know you're proud of me. Okay. I love you. Okay. Okay. Bye. Well, let's get after it, shall we? Let's let her rip, Tater Chip. And we're off. See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, I have done this myself several times. This is before I owned a mill. This is before I knew anybody with a mill. This is before I knew that the Amish had a mill that was, 20 minutes away. I would get these big logs wherever I could find them. And the bigger the log, a lot of times those giant logs are rotten. And this Mr. Whitehead here, he's definitely not paying for these. That's why he's kind of getting the material. It's a really good, material. It's completely usable. He's just not going to use what's rotten. He's going to clean it all up. And, do I have an issue with this? Yes and no. If you do a good enough job, there shouldn't be too much problem. I like to use kiln-dried stuff, but here we see he's got everything is exactly the same, plain, glued. And this is my shop. This reminds me. This is a technique that I use that I don't really share a lot, and matter of fact, I don't know if I've ever shared this. So, this is just between me and you. You see what I've done there is I've created a dam. If you've ever pour coated a top, like a tabletop, that's pretty much what this is. Except for you don't let the stuff run off. You dam it up, because no matter what I did, I just did not have the tools at all to do this, to level this off correctly. It needed to be really good. This was going to go to a high-end client, and I wanted my seams to be perfect. And there's no more perfect way to make a perfect seam than to rely on gravity to level off an epoxy. It just is like glass. Perfectly flat. And that's what I did. So that's the back leg, I think. The back set of legs would be mounted there, and the front legs would be the same thing. And then I just leveled off the legs as well. Did the same technique. And when I went to join them, I scuffed them both and glued them up, and
man, it was like, oh.
We had a perfect seam. A perfect seam.
Perfect seam.
And you'll see later on in this video where, when it's still in the blonde, before I paint it or anything, you'll see the perfect seam. But it looks like a gap because it's clear compared to the white wood. That being said, keep that in mind. If you ever do decide to do something and you don't have the tools, just dam that thing up like I did here.
And make a perfect flat.
It's as easy as that. And don't forget, we've got Mr. Whitehead coming up here shortly. And I would love to get your opinion on what the score is. So you're going to learn a little bit here. And don't forget to score this thing from 1 to 10 when you're done. Also, if you want, you can score mine. Screw it. All right. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Those are the boards that I glue together. I use a lot of clamps. I don't use straps. You know, Bob does. A lot of people do. I just prefer clamps and get creative, or I'll use lags. You know, so he's finishing up his glue up. That looks like the torso. I mean, basically what you're doing is you're just creating 3 or 4 big ass, or, you know, butcher blocks boards, and then you glue them together. And it doesn't matter what size the board is, as long as they all equal out in the end. See? Told ya. Boom. He gets another high score. He made up his own router sled at home. And you seen how he did that? You see that? I didn't know anything about router sleds when I was doing my deer. So he's light years ahead of me that way. And looks like he's gonna mount the head to the torso. And you notice he just kind of leveled it off so that we didn't have a bunch of glue run off. You're gonna have it anyway. And adding the legs, big old lag. Now I used the glue, and I used epoxy on mine, but normally I just come right through the sides with lags and pull them. And if that looks like golf tees, it is. So when I put my antlers together, all the grains go in the same way, all directions. So I need to glue it and screw it, and then when I pull the screws, you know, it really helps fill the hole. And you can see I'm doing musculature. And when I say put the saw down and grab a sander, this is what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of people grab the sander too late. I grab it early so I can have material to work with. And here we are, back with our man Bob. Bob's super he's OG. He's been doing this a long time, just like me. And I don't know how many years, but it's been a lot. And he's really showing off a bit of his blocking skills. The question still remains, would you buy a piece that was derived from rotten wood and epoxy, you know, or glued up and turned into a bear? Do you find a problem with it? If you do, hey man, put it in the comment section. Oh, here's my deer. Now we're getting back to the shop. Before I put the floors in, before I did all my fancy stuff in there. This was a while back. See what I mean by those seams? Yeah, that's where I join the head. It's where I join the legs. Everything has an epoxy seam. And I didn't care. Why? Because I was painting it. I painted everything. Look at that.
Sun's out, guns out, baby.
There's a little bit of where I joined it. Everything was done with epoxy, and it made it so crazy strong. It was overkill, really. I mean, you could literally drop that thing in the ocean and set it adrift for 20 years. Nothing would have happened to it. Now Bob's getting down to some... Looks like he's, you know, I'm looking at his choice of tools. I don't know if he has a carving bar. I'm gonna have to ding him on that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe yeah. Well, he's got to have the right tools. Instead, he has like basic stuff. He's got grinders. He's got grinders, sanders, like burr bits. There's a burr bit right there on some yellow maker model of tool. And now we're working our way around, getting the mouth figured out. Now this is kind of tricky because, you know, when you're about to create a mouth on a bear, you have to be very careful, because if not, it'll make it look like the snout's flat and then the jaw will come out flat underneath. You know what I'm saying? So it has to kind of taper. A bear's jaw underneath tapers. It's not flat. Same thing goes with my deer. Now, looking back, I judged my own deer. And if I were to judge my own deer, I'd give my deer probably an 8.5 Out of 10, maybe. Because, well, if it came down to the lamination part, it was top notch. But as far, you know, the wood was all kiln-dried pine. It was all pristine, so that helps with the score a little bit. And the detail was everywhere. The antlers, I should say, the horns. And the antlers were, you know, difficult. And thankfully, I had my buddy Corey Warden come, and after I got them built and shaped, he refined them. He also refined the hooves and things. But I put the, you know, all the detail in, and Bob's doing exactly the same thing. And it's a race to the finish here. Well, at least it looks like it. Looks like he's finishing. He's putting, I think he's got a nick in the ear, and he's fixing that. So maybe keep that in mind when you go to score these carvings. And I'm thinking, you know, because mine was pretty close to being done, I was able to throw a number out there, but I might change it after it gets painted, after I'm looking at it with you guys. I mean, it's just me and you, right? So it could go up a little more. You know, I'm a little biased. It is me. But anyways, so introducing Bob Whitehead. Now, he's got a lot of videos, or at least more than I thought he had. And when I say that, I mean he's got some really good videos. He does a moose head, he does an eagle, and they're all impressive. I'm going to cover those too. But for now, let's just focus on scoring Bob and paying attention to what he's doing, paying attention to what I'm doing, and hopefully maybe you can learn something, or if you're watching me, learn what not to do. I don't know. It's up to you. You be the judge. You leave that score in the comment section, and we'll go from there. We'll have that conversation when the video is over. But you can see, I mean, that wood is pristine, and this is, oh, if it looks like somebody's living room, it's my living room. Hi, Pam. Anyway, she agreed. We did not have a warm shop, and we had to get these painted and installed by a certain date. And does that look like a roll top desk and a piano? Yeah, it is. And hey, at least I put like, oh, cool, I put the pink in the eye. So this is a pretty cool paint job, really. Like those are not fake. I mean, those are not real antlers. Those are the ones we carved. We put textures in there to capture, you know, the depth, the patina. And we killed it. Ooh, yeah, you can see that the ass end of that buck is up in the air, and it's got a steel substructure. Maybe I have to go more than an 8.5. Maybe I'll go 8.8, 8.7, somewhere in there. And Bob's bear is looking super strong. Come on, guys, what are you thinking, man? What do you think? Am I too far off on my own thing? Is it my own opinion? Is it like, was my deer, am I just aiming for the clouds here? What do you think? Am I too high on my own score? You know, how are we even gonna do this and not look like I'm just trying to pad my own score? Now, Bob is doing something I've never done, and it's incredibly cool. He puts a piece of glass over top of, he's leveling the feet, right? But because of the way the grain is, his feet, the way they're curved, they come up and they curve over like so. This little bit where the toes are, the grain is going cross-grained. You can't have that, right? So what he had to do is he used that glass, came underneath there with the block, and he marked with a saw all the way around, finished the cut, and then he put the grain going in the right direction. This guy he's thinking, and he's all about the quality. I know it sounds weird because he's doing it from rotten wood, but this guy knows what he's doing. And you can say what you want, but he had the skill set and the artistic integrity and the building integrity to make the grain going the right way for the foot so that the toes didn't break off when you start moving it. And there is the finished piece. Whew. I mean, the amount of effort that went into this thing, you know, let's like, this is us. That's my buddy Jeremiah Dillman and my son Will, and we're installing this in front of Whitetail Properties. And what a great place. What a great group of people that is, by the way. You know, it does that raise my score because I did carve a sign. Come on, help me out, people. Help me out here. But my hat is off to Bob and his bear. And hopefully, you know, you guys can disagree with me, whatever. I think, myself included, when you start a carving, there's just a point at which you're just trying to get the thing done and get it out the door. And some people just don't have the luxury of sitting on pieces the way I get to sit on them. But it's because I built my business to be able to do that. Now that's important, everyone. You gotta think about that. You gotta think about the business, what your model looks like and what you're trying to achieve. What kind of customers are you trying to, you know, bring into your, you know, your little church. Bob took literally nothing and created something excellent, like wonderful. Myself, I did the same, but I had to go and purchase high-end kiln-dried logs. I gotta be honest, and it's not ego, it's just facts. I gotta be realistic with this score. So I'm gonna give myself probably like an 8.7, 8.6, somewhere in there. I think 8.6 is probably a good score for me, my dear. If you don't like what I say, or if you don't like what my score is, please make sure that you put your 2 cents in the freaking comments, because I want to hear what you have to say, because this isn't easy, you know, because you're letting people into your inner thoughts, right? You're like, this is I want to just give flowers out and be nice and say, this is amazing, good job, blah, blah, blah. But I do have my opinion. So what do you think? You think I'm nuts for doing a scoring system? I don't know. It kind of perks me up a little bit. It kind of makes it, because there's a little bit of, a little bit of, I don't know. There's a little bit of something else going on here that is a little palpable. I've been doing this for almost 40 years, like 37, going on 38 years. The vast majority of the last half of that has been lamination. So I do have a little bit of knowledge on it. Anyway, that's it for this one. Put your own 2 cents in there in the comments section. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. All right, everyone, we'll see you on the next one.